Hello, everyone, and welcome back to that show, the Unnamed Sports Show. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm joined by Jerry and Jason. How we doing, fellas?
Doing good, doing
Good
good.
man. How you doing?
Doing all right. Middle of a move right now. I now am not in a mystic background city. I actually have a wall back here now, which is cool. It will soon
All
be
right.
decorated with all my brown stuff. So
Good, then I
we're
can turn this off back here. I'm just kidding.
exactly. It's a work in progress. Work in progress, but yeah, we're sorry we missed you guys last week. Before we jump into the episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on our social media at Unnamed Sports S. We are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, and we are on X, formerly
Watch
known
the
as Twitter.
spot.
Afterwards, this audio will be put on up on anywhere that you find podcasts. So make sure to rate and review us there as well. And thanks for joining us today. We don't have too much. It's gonna be probably a short show today,
We
but
always do
still
that.
full of good content.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great
Full
content.
full of good content, for sure. We'll start off with the NFL draft. So we haven't spoken to you since our live reaction to the NFL draft. Lots of big moves. Let's get the big one off our chest first. Two of us have an opinion on something. One of us doesn't. Figure we go fisticuffs on it today. With the 8th pick of the NFL draft, the Atlanta Falcons selected Michael Penix Jr. from Washington, the quarterback. Now, for those of you that have paid attention this offseason, they also signed a certain guy named Kirk Cousins to a $180 million deal and then turned around with the 8th pick. Instead of adding someone to their roster that could help them win right now, they added somebody for 4 to 5 years, 3 to 4 to 5 years in the future. A guy who's already 25 years old, 24 years old. So I'll let Jason start it off about.
No. You start. You
What?
two start. Y'all get your aggressions out, and then I'll explain the
You
reason.
want to get
and
the wrong
smartness behind
opinion
it.
out of the way first, Jason.
No, absolutely not.
All right, Jerry, I will let you start then. What is your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons move to draft Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th pick in the first round of the NFL draft?
So, the Falcons, you just alluded to it, signed Kirk Cousins. Instead of going to get a weapon or a defensive piece, because their defense is lacking. It's lacking. And I know that this draft did not have the defensive depth that some other drafts have had. I think the first 15 picks were offensive players, correct? Something like
First
that.
13.
13. Why in
It may have been 15.
I don't know
Sorry,
what
go
it was,
ahead.
but why in the hell are we taking a quarterback that's going to sit behind Kirk Cousins for a minimum of 3 years on a rookie contract, who is then going to be 28, 29 years old? Sure, he can develop behind him. That's fine. Whatever. If he is not in the league getting playing time, he's not going to develop as a guy at that age. Like, he's not going to develop into a Pro Bowl caliber, Hall of Fame caliber player who's going to lead you in the playoffs. 1. 2, you're also wasting a draft pick, like I said, on somebody that could be a weapon for this guy in the future, or could be on the defensive end to back him up. I know they have weapons around the ball already. They have Drake London, they have Kyle Pitts, they have Bijan Robinson. They got dudes. But they need help on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm sorry, but wasting the 8th pick on a backup quarterback for the next 4 years, a guy that's already 25 years old, is just downright ignorant to me. It's stupid. And I think it also shows that the GM knew it was stupid and the owner knew it was stupid, because there's a video of them in the draft room after the GM's trying to explain to the owner, and the owner's pissed off about it. Why would you take the 8th pick? We're not talking a late first round pick. We're not talking, even a mid first round pick like a 16, 17. We're talking a top 10 pick in the 2024 NFL draft here to waste on a backup quarterback that's going to sit behind Kirk Cousins for a minimum of 3 years. Absolutely stupid. Just don't understand it. I will never wrap my head around it. I get the argument is that, we're not planning to be in this position for the next 3 to 4 years. We're not going to be able to take a top tier quarterback like this. Yeah, How about you get a defensive guy that can go help you win a Super Bowl right now? Right now. That is the plan. That's what they should have done. This is just stupid.
To add on top of that, because then we'll let Jason rebuttal. There's 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round of the draft this year, a tied for the most ever taken, and the quickest of the quickest of the 6 quarterbacks. Last time 6 quarterbacks was taken, the 28th pick was the 6th. The 12th pick was the 6th. So quarterbacks off the board really quick. And I think you can break down the 6 quarterbacks into 2 different groups. And I'm not the one to make this up. I heard this from I think it was Joel Klatt, but he makes a really good point. 3 of the quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Drake May, JJ McCarthy, are 3-year guys who are 21, are somewhat raw, but have incredible talent and can definitely, like, you are pushing the envelope with their skill, with their ability. And I don't think really JJ McCarthy is that amazing, but regardless, he kind of falls into that camp. Then you have Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., and Bo Nix, who are the guys that took advantage of the COVID year, who have started a lot of games and are pretty polished as far as their abilities and their talent goes. It basically will come down to their ability to read an NFL defense. So you got 3 guys who are relatively pro-ready, as you want to say, and 3 guys who are a little bit more raw. And they chose by far the most pro-ready guy with the oldest age to be the guy to back up Kirk Cousins. They didn't pick a guy like what was Tennessee's quarterback's name?
Joe Milton.
Yeah, they didn't pick a guy like Joe Milton, who, and again, he shouldn't have been a top first-round pick at all. But my point being, like, he was picked up because he's got incredible intangible raw talent that you can maybe cultivate for a few years. You picked a guy who really should be a starter right now for a team in Michael Penix Jr., and you're gonna rest him 3 years. If I was him, I'd be really mad. I'd be frustrated that I was picked by a team that isn't going to need me for 3 years. So those are kind of our points laid out. Jason, go ahead. What's the rebuttal here?
The rebuttal is you got the second best quarterback in a very heavy and largely considered a great quarterback draft class. You get, in my opinion, the second best quarterback in this draft class, 2A, 2B with Daniels, in my opinion. So not only are you setting yourself up now with Kirk Cousins, yes, you might need a little bit more defensive help, but you still have your second, third, and fourth round picks to go get defensive guys. Did they do that? No, but I'm talking about when they picked the first round pick. In my decision, in my idea, it's not a bad idea because you get yourself a future quarterback. We're saying yes, he's going to be 27 probably by the time he gets to start. Quarterbacks play till 40 nowadays. He can play, especially him, whose biggest mark was being injured coming out of college, like his past injuries when he was a freshman and a sophomore at Indiana, correct?
Yeah. 2 knee surgeries.
Yeah, 2 knee surgeries. So that looks really bad. You give him some more time to rest. You give him some more time to get the process of how the NFL handles. Yes, he is the most pro-ready as a quarterback, as meaning, like, yes, he probably is the best defensive reader out of this whole draft class.
And I think probably the best, not the best like talent throwing, but like as far as throwing leverage to his receiver, I think he's even better than Caleb Williams.
I mean, because we talked about this earlier in the year. Like, this man looked like Joe Flacco, like this year. Yeah. This year, Joe Flacco, because that man was just throwing balls on the dime and so perfect that every wide receiver in the NFL was catching that ball. Even Kadarius Toney could catch one of those, like.
Maybe
debatable.
But that being said, to counter some of your guys' arguments, like, yes, you wanted to go get a defensive player to help them right away. Maybe they feel like they have already put themselves in a position to win right now without those defensive players. They also, without the defensive line, they have one of the best backfields in the NFL, in my defensive backfields in the NFL, in offensive backfields, I guess, if you really want to think about it. But they put themselves in a position to be good for a very long time. So while it might look like it's right now it's a bad decision, yes, absolutely. And for next year, compared to what they could have had, is a bad decision. But for trying to build a franchise, a dynasty, this isn't a bad decision. So if you think more long term, if you're thinking about 10 years, even 5 years, I think this is a crazy, because not only do you now, yes, you did spend a lot of money on Kirk Cousins, but you don't have a lot of money going elsewhere. When it comes time to play the players that you need to, guess what, you have more free cap space. Kirk Cousins' contract is going to come to an end. You have to go pay your running back. You got to go pay your wide receiver. Kyle Pitts, I think, is already. It might be next year he has to get paid.
I think so, yeah.
So you might have to. You might be losing one of those players. But when it comes time for Penix to take control, you're going to have a rookie contract.
Yeah, but it
then
already
a
depleted rookie contract.
Yeah, but you still have
That's
2
the
years
problem.
on that contract. On that third year,
Yeah, but
he's going to
but
have
the con-
his
sorry,
third
go
year,
ahead.
his fourth year, and then a possible. It's going to be a third year, a fourth year, and a possible fifth year deal.
No. There'll be a fourth and a possible fifth.
That's what I just said.
You just said third, fourth, and fifth, and possible fifth.
And a
They're only-
possible fifth.
Yeah.
I said a
No, it's
possible
only
fifth.
going to be fourth and
saying-
possible fifth. That third year, Kirk Cousins is still going to be there, dog.
Yeah, it's 3 years guaranteed.
Okay, 3 years guaranteed is, but don't. I thought they had a. I thought
With
they had
no
a deal
trade
on this.
clause.
On the 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still. Okay, so fourth year and then a possible fifth year. Kirk Cousins A is injury prone. As of last year, we saw that. You might not even be fully healthy coming into this year. You get yourself a backup. How many backup quarterbacks played last year? 20, 30 plus?
Right, but and that's true. All right, go ahead.
So
You don't waste
did-
the 8th pick on a backup
Yeah,
quarterback.
we're talking about the 8th pick. This is if it was like I said,
Right,
if this
but
was
again-
16
15 to
16 through
25.
whatever, yeah, different story.
Right.
100% different
Cool.
story. Great
backup
move.
quarterback for 3 years, and then you have a star quarterback for the next 12 years.
Maybe.
Not worth it. Not worth it in
Maybe.
my opinion.
Maybe.
From what
Star
I've
quarterback.
seen, this is you're right. Maybe everybody's a maybe. The defensive player could be out in 2 years. They're like
Correct.
And also,
Anyone can get-
also, you just said quarterbacks play until they're 40, 40 plus. What if Kirk Cousins is absolutely balling out and they decide to re-sign him?
Yeah,
What do you
so
do
you've
then?
you've wasted
We're
that.
talking
Give
about
you-
a quarterback.
you give yourself options. You're not stuck to one player. You have to pay $50 million to, and you can just go play with this guy for 2 years and to see what he can do, and then pay someone that's 10, 12 years younger that money instead of having to pay someone that's 50 that much money, 40 that much, $50 million that much money. Because that's what top quarterbacks are getting, 50 plus, 55, I think is.
And
the
by
max.
that time, it'll probably be even more than that.
Probably
The
be up
cap
in the
is just going to keep
60s.
going up. Yeah, Deshaun Watson's in the 60s starting this year. It's pretty sickening. But back to the point, the Falcons have gone all in. The Falcons have actually gone all in. But sorry. So when you go out and sign someone like Kirk Cousins, your goal is that you're saying we think we have everything except the quarterback to win now. Or we have a lot besides the quarterback to win now, especially offensively. I think they're going to be one of the top offenses for sure. I think Kirk throws for over 4,000 to 5,000 yards. Like, it's going to be a heck of a season for him. I really do think that. But you now you've said, hey, Kirk, come here. And by the way, part of the reason he left Minnesota was because Minnesota told him, hey, our first draft pick is going to be a quarterback. We're telling you right now from jump. We are going to get a quarterback in this draft. We know you're aging, and we're not willing to pay a certain amount of money. On top of that, the Falcons offered more money than the Vikings did and said, hey, you're our guy. He comes in, learns that they're picking a quarterback as they're on the clock. So now, on top of all of the mistrust that you've generated for Kirk Cousins in your front office, you also, that entire Atlanta Falcons stadium, the second Kirk Cousins throws a second pick in a game or a third pick or gets a fumbled snap or whatever, they have a bad game against the division rival Saints at home, whatever it may be, that entire crowd is going to be chanting for Penix, and that just is a locker room killer. That is a team killer. Like you don't. I just think it's malpractice to go. No, if they would have signed like a bridge quarterback, like Tampa signed Baker Mayfield last year, if they would have had something like that, or if they would have signed Gardner Minshew to a $20 million, $15 million deal, and then went out and got Michael Penix for the 8th pick, I would be saying that is an amazing move, because that's going to be a 1-year thing. But Michael Penix can't help your team for 3 years. What if they're on the cusp of making a Super Bowl or an NFC Championship game, and all they need is a couple defensive plays, and they have the opportunity to get a Dallas Turner or to get a Trayvon Sweat or to trade back to the 15th or 16th pick and get a couple more assets in the 2nd and 3rd round to help bolster that defensive line, which, by the way, in the last 3 years, they had less sacks than the Eagles did last year. Like, it's just, they are the worst defensive line, and instead of last year, they spend, again, like, go back to last year. Last year was a bad pick too. Listen, I love Bijan Robinson. I don't think it's a bad idea to take a weapon, a really good player for your first pick, like Bijan Robinson, or like the Lions did with
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs, thank you. But they had a rusher who was averaging over 5 a carry, and their defense was the worst defense or bottom 3 defense in the NFL the previous season, and they still burnt a first pick on a running back when that position wasn't one of need. Similarly, you go out and sign a $180 million quarterback. That's no longer a position of need. Guess what still is? Your defensive line, because you have none, and you actually had some pretty solid players in the UCLA defensive end, Dallas Turner and Trayvon Sweat, that you could have traded back and been pretty much guaranteed you were going to get one of those 3, and
or Jared
a couple other picks. Yeah.
He was
from Florida State. Yeah. And maybe even get a first and a second, and you do what who did it with they did both the Florida State guys. Where'd he go? Verse and Frisk went to the same place. Why can't I think of who it is? Either way, they could have made a move like that. They could have got a 2-for-1 style deal and allowed probably the Broncos or the Vikings to trade up to that spot. The Rams. Yeah. Great, which was, I thought, a brilliant move by the Rams. And getting Blake Corum. The Rams are going to be a team to watch out for this year. I know I'm going on a side tangent, but I don't think you mortgage your today for 3 to 4 years in the future.
I'm going to disagree. Only because if you scout, you say this player is second on your board, right? Caleb Williams probably number 1, Marvin St. Harrison probably number 2, and then you put Penix at number 3, right? You're like, these 2 are gone. 3 is Michael Penix, and you say this guy is still available all the way at 8, and the defensive player don't rank as high. I mean, do I like Dallas Turner? Do I think he's going to be solid? Yeah. Is he more of an athletic freak that's like needs some work? Yeah, maybe. I really like the dude from UCLA. I think he's the most polished player. I think he'll be ready to play and start right away. Is he going to be a superstar? Probably not. Is he just going to be a really, really good starter? Yeah, absolutely. Do they need that? Yes, absolutely. But you have your board. He's 3, and you find that at pick number 8. Yeah, no, absolutely. You go get that, in my opinion. When teams start worrying about position of need more than best available, that's when you start drafting players that are just bad and out of position just because you need that position.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think this is a nuanced version of that, though. You don't listen. Like, if you are, I don't know, pick a team. Let's go with the Bengals. Okay, and you're at pick 20, and you have Brian Thomas available, the best available, but you got 3 wide receivers. I guess they lost Tyler Boyd, but you still have perennial wide receivers, and you need help on the defense. Like, yes, you don't you draft best available for the most part. But if it is a complete non-need for a team that is win now, I just don't think then you trade out of that spot. You trade back. You trade to a spot where you can then your best available fits that and you get more assets down the line. Or vice versa. You trade up if you see a guy that's like, oh, this guy's high on our board and he's falling and we need a defensive tackle and he's at 32 now. Let's trade up and get that. You don't I agree you take best available, but if your best available is something that you just paid $180 million or just put out $180 million contract to, then you get out of that spot. I don't disagree with the notion that you take best available. I really agree with that. I just don't think you take it at a position in which you already that's already checkmarked. And in a position that's as mentally like needed as quarterback. So we've spent 20 minutes talking about this already. Go ahead. Final thoughts, Jason, because I kind of cut you off there. If you have
that was it. That was it. Yeah. You're good. So, I mean, I it's not that I completely disagree with what you're saying. It's just that's how high I am on Penix, and that's kind of just where it puts me to be like, I can't say it's a bad pick until I see what he does in the NFL. Like, I'm not going to ever be like, no, I don't like it. I'll tell you right now, I hate the JJ McCarthy pick. Like, I don't think he's going to work out. That's how high I am on Penix, and that's where I'm willing to put. You know what? I don't think it's a bad pick. I'll put my neck on the line. Like, I'll say it.
I think part of it for me too is I'm frustrated because I really wanted to watch Michael Penix this year.
Yeah, I would have loved to see him at Minnesota or Oakland. I would have loved to see him at either of those teams. Minnesota was really high on JJ.
Or Denver.
No, we were taking Bo next no matter what.
Yeah, I was going to say, or Denver, but no.
Reports.
Yeah, they had him as the next best.
They had him as their number one.
What?
Who did they compare him to? Who did they compare him to? Was it Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
No. Was it Andrew Luck?
I think it was Luck.
Drew Brees, I thought. No.
No, you might be right. It might. No.
Oh, Drew Brees.
It was someone that they were looking to draft, and they were going to trade up for. I thought it might have been Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it might have been.
Sean Payton was like,
oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes guy,
yeah.
And the Chiefs found out that the Saints were going to take him, so they jumped him.
Up.
Yeah, and then the guy shot a text message to the guy on the Saints, like, we got him while they were on the clock. I was like, dang, that's pretty cold-blooded.
Toxic. But, yeah. So, I mean, yeah. It wasn't probably going to happen. I would love to see him on any starting next year. But it is what it is. We'll get to see him eventually.
Anyway, other big splashes in the draft. We can talk a little bit about our teams, the Browns. Everything I see, the Browns are like F grade or C grade. I love our draft. I love being in a position where. Go ahead.
Sorry. They do that every year with y'all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these guys get the best offensive linemen round 4, round 3, and two best of offensive linemen. They'll go be backups. When your players get injured, they come in and they start right away. I'm like,
every year.
I want it. Give me your
every
GM.
year. Every year. We have. Listen, I think Howie Roseman's probably the best in the NFL, or he's up there. You know, there's a couple guys that you're like, but Andrew Berry has got to be a top 5 to 10 GM in the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
And people just crap on our draft, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This offseason, we got a good pass catcher in Jerry Jeudy, and then everything else. We signed a really good linebacker. We got a wide receiver in the free agency, and then we solidified our team across the board with backups, which is what we need for a team that gets injured as much as we do. We got Michael Hall Jr., who, by the way, if you go watch, Jim Schwartz was so excited that we were able to draft Michael Hall because he's like, this dude is a pass rushing defensive tackle. He's got an amazing first step. We can get a little size on him. You put him next to Myles Garrett. He's going to be singled up. Like, lots of good stuff there. Then you get we have an aging Batonio and a Wyatt Teller whose performance is going down a little bit. He's not bad or anything, but just dipping a little bit. So we get a Zach Zinter from Michigan, who was a unanimous All-American guard.
He's a beast before he broke his leg, man.
Yeah,
an absolute monster.
No, monster.
He's a literal monster of a human. He's like
Yeah.
6'7", 340 pounds. He's gigantic. Can you imagine your right side of your line is DeJuan Jones and Zach Zinter? That's just folding. That's just folding people. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's nasty.
And then,
Ugh,
and then we
nasty.
get very nasty. And then we get Thrash from Louisville, who at first I was like, "Who's this guy?" I've been doing more research on him. He's like an incredibly cerebral wide receiver with decent hands. He had a little bit of a drop problem, but he's always open. When the play breaks down, it's like you always hate to compare people to Hall of Famers, but it's just what we do. It reminds me of like when Edelman, when the play breaks down, just always being in the right spot as an open slot receiver kind of guy. So I like him. He's a little bit bigger than Edelman was, but the point is I loved it. And then we got the SEC best defensive player, middle linebacker in the 6th round. So out of Missouri. So I guess it's a C. I don't know. I'm like, this all is great to me. I don't know. What'd you think of your draft, Jason, for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Well, we got the number 1 player on my draft board who I thought was probably not going to be available
I
at
don't know
pick
how he fell that far,
23.
man.
He just kept falling.
Unreal.
He just kept falling. We kept trading back. I was like, let's
The Jags
go.
traded out of 17 too, and he was there. Like,
Yes.
unreal.
I didn't
They
think he was
still
going to
let
be there
him
at
have him.
17. We traded
Yeah.
back down to 23, and we got Brian Thomas Jr. at pick 23. That is the 4th best wide receiver in this draft class, and gives us a true one right away. The issue I have with our draft is that we probably needed to be I think any team in the NFL who didn't try to or do trade up in the beginning of the 2nd round, where you have 2 top 3, 4, 5 corner in the draft. There's just chilling, and and a defensive tackle, if not 2. I that's where I had Mike Waller Jr. Going in the early 2nd round. But Newton's sliding down to the 2nd round, like that was two positions of need right there. And then we go get the LSU guy. Question mark for me. I think a lot of his stuff was injury problems and then hustle issues. But I mean, he's huge. He's definitely huge. He's 6'5", 320 plus. Like that dude's huge. Like he has the attributes to be good. Is just will he be good? And I think you could have gone with the Michigan or the Ohio State defensive tackle, Michael Jr. Before they were picked and been well. But we just gotta hopefully those players pay out. And then again, our third question. So no, what I do like, we get a nickel guy, the dude from Florida State, Jarian Johnson. He number 1 coverage guy in man. So we like that. There will be a lot of man coverage running this year with the wide receivers that have joined the AFC South. So we like that. What I'm curious on is the dude from I think Ole Miss, Prince, the corner. Can he be a true number 1? He has the body, he has the size, he has the speed. Can he be a true number 1 style corner and become a lockdown corner? He was projected around the 3rd, 4th round. We got him, I believe, in the 5th. So I think it was good positional value. Everyone else, other than that, we got a kicker. We needed a kicker, so that's not like a bad pick in the 6th round. 7th round, I think we got the backup defensive tackle from LSU. So project players, I think, all around, other than Brian Thompson Jr. So it's a big question mark for me. I don't hate it. I don't like it. I think we could have done better. Oh, sorry. 3rd string running back from Texas also. Project players. So we got a lot of question marks. If they pan out, great. From what I've seen previous draft classes, they're not going to pan out, and they'll be on a different team. Then they'll pan out. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I think there were a lot of other players available, such as, again, those defensive tackles, the corners that were early in the 2nd round. Everybody should have been trading next year's 2nd round pick for one of those guys. I mean, the Eagles get 2 top 4 corners in the draft class. Like, what are we?
Yeah, so much for
doing?
them needing.
That is literally their weakness. You guys just hand them over. Like, there's just 2 draft picks that I'm just looking at. Like, we let the Chiefs get Xavier Worthy, the reincarnation of Cheetah. Like, how do we let that happen? Then we go let them get what's his name? Dude from Iowa. I'm sorry.
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper
Cooper
DeJean
DeJean. We go let them get Cooper DeJean, who can play
All white
corner or
first team.
safety.
or
Like,
nickel.
or
Yeah.
nickel. He can play everywhere and kick
Yeah.
return too. Like, what are?
Yeah.
Why did we let them, their biggest weakness, just get completely fixed and like we just let it happen? But
Mhm.
anyways,
And
that's
he's
the guy.
white.
And he's
All
white.
All white first team, baby.
I would have loved that because we need a safety, we need a corner, we need a nickel. So like, play all three, bro.
At the same
Like,
time. Yeah.
our Newton, because Newton I think was the second best defensive tackle in the draft class, and he just
Yeah.
kept dropping. But here we are. It's the NFL draft. Everyone drops. Someone has to go down.
Jerry, what'd you make of the Broncos draft? Were you a fan? Were you not a fan? You like Bo Nix? What's the thought? How do we feel?
I feel okay. I'd give it like a B plus. I mean, it all comes down to if Bo Nix is the guy, right? You know, you're spending the first round pick on him, the early first round pick. Do I think he's going to be a Patrick Mahomes like Sean Payton does? Absolutely not. Do I think he's going to be a solid NFL quarterback? We'll see.
Absolutely
We'll
not.
see. No, I like the pick. I like them taking a shot to get a guy that's not the prototypical quarterback that they usually draft, and Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler kind of guy. They go with a guy
He's not
who's
6'5".
yeah.
6'6". Sorry.
Yeah, so we'll see if it pans out. I think if as long as he gets to the playoffs once or twice, barring whatever else happens in free agency moving down the road. I like the pickup of Troy Franklin to pair with him. I think it's a good idea to go get a guy that he has chemistry with already. Can Troy Franklin?
Why did he fall so far in the draft?
Because he can't run routes.
He can't run routes.
He only has to know one route. Go fast.
Go.
Go.
That's it. Just go.
Okay.
But I mean, getting a guy that he has chemistry with, it bodes well for a young guy in the NFL to have that guy you can rely on. So hopefully that works out. And I like the pickup of Chris Abrams-Drain. I don't really know much about him, but when they drafted him, they started showing highlights of him locking down Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. on LSU. So I was like, looks good to me.
Nice.
But yeah, like I said, it all comes down to Bo Nix and what happens with him. So we'll see. Obviously, the rest of the team isn't at an all-star caliber, but in free agency in coming years, maybe they can turn that around.
What is your expectation? Let's go through that real quick before we move on to the NBA. What do you think the Broncos' record will be this year, following this free agency and draft, your roster, your division? Like, what do you think? Realistically.
Realistically, I think it's going to be 7-10.
7-10. Yeah, that's about where I'm thinking. I think you guys are. See, I think you're 7-10, but still the second best team in your division.
Yep.
I think the Chargers are going to suck, and I think the Raiders are going to suck too.
Yeah.
So
The Raiders are just going to be really good defensively, but
defensively, yeah,
offensively, I don't know. They got a lot of questions there.
yeah. What, Jason? What do you think about you guys in the AFC South? Where do you guys think you finished? Not just in the AFC South, but just overall record. How do you think you guys do? What do you think? Where do you finish in the division?
Second in the division with 10 wins.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Second in the division with 10 wins.
Behind the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the Colts do? You think they take a big step forward, or do you think they're still right around that? I guess they couldn't be a big step forward because they almost were in the playoffs last year. They were a completed pass away from going to the play the Browns in the first round.
I think I like Anthony Richardson. Don't get me wrong. He still has a lot to work on, though, being that he didn't really get to play that much this last year. He got injured pretty early. So it's still technically, for me, it's going to be his rookie year, so he's going to have some kinks to go through. Now, that being said, his first game he played, it was amazing. It was good. So he's still good. I just don't know if that much of a change between Gardner Minshew and his still, quote-unquote, first year.
Yeah.
is going to boost them that much.
Yeah.
Browns won 11 games last year, starting 4 different quarterbacks. What?
I think they're gonna win.
Yeah. I think if we stay healthy, we've improved every position that we struggled in last year. The only thing that I have questions about is our aging players at our offensive line, but everything else we've really pretty much addressed. We have a very good secondary. Our defense should just be just as smothering as they were last year. And if Deshaun Watson stays healthy, if he takes a step forward, we have another pass catcher in Jerry Jeudy, a healthy Nick Chubb. I think we win 13 games. I think we finish first in the AFC North. I think
that's pushing for the first seed in the AFC too.
Yeah, I think
13 wins.
I think I really do think this is we all of us say it, but if there was a year to be, hey, this is the year, this feels like it. We finally got our guy on the defensive side in Jim Schwartz, who has us literally looking like the best defense in the NFL, except against the Texans in that last game. But literally looking like the best defense in the NFL. And if we have a competent quarterback play with Nick Chubb being at least 80% of what he has been, which I really think he'll come back and be really, really good. I don't see why we won't be dominant this year.
Yep. I agree. I think, I don't know, like last year was supposed to be another, the year, right? You have a ton of injuries and you still get to 11 wins. Like Browns fans should be absolutely hyped for this season. Should be ready to roll.
And not to mention, we won 11 games, which is still a lot of games. We really would have probably won 12 if it meant anything. That last game, we sat all of our starters against the Bengals, lost because we sat literally anybody that was going to play in the playoffs, which is the right decision. But if we start all of our starters that game, we probably win, but it didn't matter because we were going to be the 5 seed no matter what. We couldn't win the division. So, like literally, like we were basically a 12-win team right in that area. We had the second best record in the AFC, tied for the 2 seed in the AFC had 11 wins. Like, that's just crazy. Anyway,
time out.
That
Wait, time out. Oh wait, go ahead, wrap up. I'm sorry, go ahead, wrap up. But after you're done.
All right, well that wraps up our NFL talk. Jason, what are we holding on for?
All right, so we got
Jared Allen's back. No, I'm just kidding.
Pain.
No.
So we have some messages in the YouTube.
Nice.
Do you guys know what you're talking about from June Evans?
No.
No idea.
No.
I said we think we know what we're talking about. She said go Packers as well. Madison said can't wait to see your new sports studio. And then Wall Pog, sorry, from Jacob Craig.
What does that mean?
You have a wall.
You have an awesome wall.
But
Pog.
what's Pog mean?
Means many of things in our definition in the studio. It's yay, woohoo, Pog.
Okay.
No, it's a gaming talk. It's gaming talk, bro.
Poggers. I don't know. I've heard that.
Yes,
before.
actually, yes. No, that's a word. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Yeah.
You're one of us now.
Dirty wall.
The
wall.
One of us.
All right. So let's wrap everything up with the NFL here, and let's briefly. I don't want to say briefly because there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but let's talk about the NBA. So the first round of the NBA ended, and basically the only one lower seed won in either conference. The Pacers beat the Bucks and are now playing the Knicks, and then the Cavs beat the Magic, playing the Celtics, who beat the Heat. And then on the Western Conference side, Oklahoma City beat New Orleans. Who are they playing? They just beat the Mavericks, who beat the Clippers. And then the other game is...
I think the Mavericks were the lower seed in there.
No, they weren't. They were the 4 seed. Yeah. I'm 9. I could be wrong, actually.
I believe you, but I'm going to fact check because I kind of don't.
Fact check me, actually, because I think I am wrong. I think they were probably the 5 seed.
Yes.
You are right. You were right.
Yes.
You were right. I was wrong. But who were the 4 and 5 seed is like the same thing. You know what I mean? So you're right. The 5 seed won there. Mavericks beat the Clippers. Mavericks are currently playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers and are playing the Timberwolves, who beat the Phoenix Suns. So starting over on the Eastern Conference side, let's start with our team. The three of us all are Cleveland Cavaliers fans. We won a 7-game series against the Magic, which, on one hand, you're frustrated that it took 7 games to beat the Magic. But on the other hand, you are, at least me personally, I'm like, okay, like, we were able to go 7 games and win a series, find it, dig deep against a Magic team who was slowly building confidence through all the games they were playing with us. So
Paolo Banchero is going to be a problem in this league. He is.
Yeah, they're honestly a lot like the Thunder. Like, they're young, unexperienced. They need some more experience. 1 or 2 more years, and they're going to be at the top. Because
it's unbelievable. Defensively, especially, that team is so long across the board. I mean, and not even just their length. Like, Jalen Suggs is a shooting guard. He plays excellent defense. And he's a good shooter. Like, they are a good squad, and they're a young squad. They're the second youngest squad outside of the Thunder that are in this playoffs. And like you said, they're going to be a problem. But let's move into the Celtics. Celtics gentlemen sweep the Heat, 4-1, or beat them in 5 games. They now are 1-0 up on the Cavs. Jason and Jerry, we'll start with Jason. Like, do the Cavs have a shot here, or is this just a fool's hope?
First of all, gentleman sweep, that was nice. I haven't even heard that one yet.
Yeah.
That was good. Secondly,
we're innovating on this podcast, baby.
Yeah, I definitely heard that before. I did not make that up. So.
Nope.
Charles Barkley definitely said that on TV
really?
the other day. So
who's that?
Exactly, dude. I'm more famous than Charles. Anyway, all right.
Got as many rings as he does.
Hey, all right, go ahead.
Not like us. Okay, anyways.
No, we can't talk about that on this show, dog. We'll be here forever.
Okay.
Right,
yes, Jared Allen. If Jared Allen can come back, there's a chance. If Jared Allen is not there, the way our defensive rotations look, it's not looking too hot because there's just too many small people on the court. I'm gonna be honest. Like, Okoro's out there, is playing 4 basically. Like, it's. I think for us to win this series, Okoro needs to be on Tatum the whole game. Obviously, you need. It's so hard. It's so hard just because.
Yeah, I think you put Mobley on Tatum.
Yeah.
And you have to keep Okoro on Brown.
Brown, yeah. Yeah, but then you're still putting
Mitchell on Drew.
Mitchell on White. No.
Donovan Mitchell on Holiday and DG on White.
I think you can
I don't know.
swap
White's
either
been
one of
balling.
them.
Yeah,
you can
you
swap
can
either one of them.
But White's been balling. Drew
I think you
Holiday
can
is a
swap
good.
Either one. Have either of them.
Yeah, but Drew Holiday will take. Drew Holiday will muscle to the hoop every time against DG. It's just known it.
Right. You just let him. You let him, and hopefully the people on the inside can deal with it.
That's true. Yeah. Then you have people. Then you have Jarrett Allen on Horford rotate over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing that impressed me the most about the Celtics, their starters obviously good, and they have this thing like first of all, the way that the Celtics were guarding the Cavs is how the Cavs have to guard the Celtics. They were running us off the 3-point line. Anytime Strus, later in the game, they let us have our shots and we were breaking everything. But especially if you watch that second quarter, they put us kind of how the Magic did, which was get us to pump fake one dribble, not attack the hoop, and then look to shoot a kind of floater or mid-range that we were bricking. And that's how we have to treat the Celtics. Like, they're going to make a lot of those. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are truly all-stars for a reason, but you cannot let White, what's his first name?
Derek.
What is it?
Derek.
Derek White. You cannot let Derek White drop 28 points on you. I mean, it's just you can't let it happen.
But see, that's the thing. They just have guys that can do that at will, all around the court. Like, especially when Porzingis comes back. If he comes back in this series, he may. I don't know if he's out for the whole series or not. But that's another guy that you have to look at that's going to come in and completely change the dynamic of the game, because he's another guy, a forward that can just stretch the floor. He can shoot from anywhere on the court. Like, they just have so many guys in every position that can score from anywhere. And any of them can get hot on any night and put up 25-30 easily. It's a problem. Like in the series before, we were dealing with the Magic, who, while great defensively, yes, they have had troubles offensively all season long. The Celtics
are the best team in the NBA.
Run it down on you. They will just run it down your throat, pull up from anywhere, and score from anywhere at will, while also being great defensively. Like, they have a couple of guys that can cover any position on the court as well. So
they finished with the number 2 defensive rating in the NBA this year. But here's the thing.
How do you stop that? You know,
I think they have the number 2 defensive rating because you know how people say, like, the Cavs are the reverse of this. The Cavs need good defense to generate good offense. That's just how we get. We are bad in the half court.
Right.
We just are not good because we just give it to Donovan Mitchell, let him dribble it 3 or 4 times, and then he makes a move and makes a spectacular shot. Okay, that's our half-court offense. But when we are running in transition off of a good defensive play, or we get it out of bounds off of a make really quickly, that's when we're dangerous. The Celtics' defense, I think, is the reverse of that. Their offense is so good, so capable, that they force teams to start taking shots faster and faster in the shot clock, and then more and more bad shots to try and catch back up, that all of a sudden it's a 25-point game, a 20-point game, and you just have no shot to come back. I mean, they have the most blowout wins this year for a reason.
By far, right?
It's not even close.
At all.
Yeah, they have the most double-digit wins by a lot. So
wait, didn't they have more double-digit wins than losses?
I want to say that's right. Yeah. I think they have more double. But here's the thing. Besides that playoff game yesterday, the Cavs Celtics have not had a game that has been decided by more than 9 points in the last 2 years. We split with them last year, and then this year the home team won. The Celtics were home twice. We were home once. We won at home. They won at home.
Also, we had to come back from like 20-something
20 down in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, without Donovan Mitchell, though.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
You know who we had? Jarrett Allen and Dean Wade. Listen, Dean Wade's not this all-American, all-star, greatest player of all time, but he is a massive wing that can guard on the perimeter, that can really help slow down Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. So, if we get both of them back, I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that we at least get a competitive series.
I think getting Jarrett Allen obviously helps that a lot.
Yes.
I think Dean Wade will help, but I think, I don't know, Dean Wade is good. I don't think he's as impactful as you might portray him to be. I don't think he is, but
here's the reason I say
I will also say one more thing. Sam Merrill playing 13 minutes before the fourth quarter last night, before garbage time, that should not be happening. I'm sorry, but it's 13 minutes for Sam Merrill for a role player who was 0 of 5 last night, 0 of 4 from 3, should not be happening. That's bad coaching.
I agree. This is why I think this is the difference between, I think, us and the Celtics. Okay, when we were fresh in the first quarter with our starters, we were tied or had the lead. At the end of the first quarter, we were only down 6, and we put up 34 points in the first quarter. We gave up 40, but we put up 34 points in the first quarter. It was when we started getting into our rotations into the second quarter that we took a massive dip, especially offensively. So Dean Wade coming in instead of Sam Merrill, instead of Niang, instead of Morris, like, that's what I mean. I don't mean like, oh, he's this big guy that's going to start, that's going to be like night and day. But it does make a difference when they have Pritchard coming off the bench dropping 18 points and 4 threes versus us having George Niang and Sam Merrill combined for 0 for 9 on threes in a game. I mean, it's just like it's not.
It's not going to work out.
It's not going to. We
work
shot
out.
26% from three. 26%. That just we can't do that. We're not going to beat the Celtics doing that. And so when you have a tall wing, good shooter like Dean Wade that can come off the bench and give you 10 minutes and 8 to 12 points, I think that makes a big difference.
But not only that, it allows, I think, Niang to be in a more comfortable position playing the 3 instead of the 4.
Instead of the 4, exactly. So again, I don't think it's like this. Oh, Dean Wade, and we're going to win the series. I think you get him back and you get Jarrett Allen back, and you have a much more competitive game. So, moving on to the next game, the Pacers and the Knicks. Pacers got screwed. All right,
Absolutely
Pacers literally got screwed
twice in the same game,
back-to-back times. They should have. I don't know if they would have won. They probably would have, because the first one, the kick ball, it was a 3-on-1. One the other way. It wasn't
the kickball. It was the offensive foul. Was the first one. The illegal screen. Yes, it was.
No, I guarantee you it's not.
It was the illegal screen.
I promise you that it wasn't.
I promise you it was. It was the illegal screen by Miles Turner where DiVincenzo sold it. They had the last possession, 17 seconds left on the clock. They come down, illegal screen by Miles Turner that was absolute BS, and then Knicks get the ball back, and then it was the bogus kick ball that went off his hand that they couldn't review because you can't challenge it in the NBA.
No, it wasn't that, because they fouled Jalen Brunson, and he shot technical free throws before that kickball violation. The game was tied on the kickball violation. I promise you. It was Yeah, because he sank to the 2 free throws, and then he got fouled again on the inbound, sank 2 more free throws. They were up 4. The game was over. The kick ball was called at like a minute left, or like 50-some seconds. And then they get the ball in, hit it it wasn't tied. I'm sorry.
They were down by 1. 12 seconds left. Miles Turner, offensive foul, down 118 to 117. And then coach's challenge. They challenged it, lost the challenge, obviously, because total BS.
Kickball was before that.
No, it wasn't. I promise you it wasn't.
All right. Sorry for our viewers. We got to figure this out.
Well, they figured that out.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
While they figure that out, Jalen Brunson, man, is playing.
All right, real quick. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was just trying.
With about 52 seconds left in the fourth quarter, referees whistled Aaron Nesmith for a kicked ball violation.
All right, I'll leave my words.
Mike,
Hand up. I was wrong.
Mike,
Go ahead, Jason. Who's balling out? Jalen Brunson?
No, go ahead with what you were saying. I was just filling space.
I was just saying that a missed kick. So they call it a kickball violation on a steal that would have been 2 points for Pacers because there's a 3-on-1 opportunity. The Knicks come out. DiVincenzo hits a 3 to go up 1. I believe 1 or 2, may have been 2. Maybe they were down 1. Either way, Miles Turner comes and sets a screen for Halliburton, and they get called on the most BS illegal screen I've ever seen. Now, was by technical rule, was he technically moving a little bit? Sure, but it was the biggest flop I've ever seen, followed by a foul that you never, ever, ever call during the game, and they called it right there. It was complete BS.
Yeah, the Oscar goes to Dante DiVincenzo because that was absolutely ridiculous. Just one of the worst flops I've ever seen in my life. The Miles Turner, was he moving? Sure. But maybe an inch or two that he was moving. It was not, he wasn't stepping out of the way, completely out of the way. He slid over a little bit, leaned into him a little bit. Never get that kind of call. Never.
Oh, what's crazy is he leaned forward into him.
Right.
It's not like most of the time on the moving screens, you see the side lean to try and catch his elbow or his leg.
But they don't even call that.
They never call that.
Don't ever call it.
What he was doing what he was doing was kind of he took like a couple steps forward into him before he got fully set, but it was like it was a tiny footstep. Like, you don't call that. Go back and watch the Warriors from just a couple years ago, and Draymond Green is literally offensive tackle
Yeah.
pushing people
Yeah.
for Steph to shoot threes. Never called. Never, ever, ever called.
You don't even have to watch a couple years ago. You can go
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
the last
watch it
game
this
played.
year.
I
Like,
promise you.
yeah.
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 It's insane.
It's a ridiculous call, and it is refs again and another sport and another playoff taking it upon themselves to be like to make the game to fall to them instead of it to fall to the players. It's just
Right.
ridiculous.
Stupid. Absolutely.
Just ridiculous. Pacers go up. I'm sorry, Knicks go up 1-0. Jalen Brunson is balling out. He's the first player, I believe, ever to have 5 straight games with 40+ points in the postseason, or maybe first player since Wilt Chamberlain. Maybe there's some stat I saw the other day, but it's absurd what he's doing. So just imagine how good the Knicks will be when they do get Julius Randle back next year. It's going to be, and I think they're probably going to get another All-Star too. That's going to want to come play in New York.
Yeah.
By Leonard?
Maybe Paul George, LeBron James. I don't know.
I could see Kawhi Leonard. I could see Paul George. as
Donovan
well as
Mitchell?
Kawhi Leonard.
No, Donovan
If
Spide is
if-
staying in Cleveland.
If we're getting sweeped, I promise you he's gone. If we get sweeps, he's gone. He said he wanted
Sweat.
to have a run.
I was going to do it, but you did it.
Swept, sweep, swung, swoop, whipped.
He said if he gets swept, he's gone.
No, he said if we don't go far, meaning if we don't, I'm assuming like 1 or 2. I don't know what that means. Like that could mean a lot for different people, right? But he basically said if we don't make it deep to the playoffs, I'm not staying.
Just tell Donovan Mitchell you're the guy here. Trade away Mobley and Garland. Get whatever you can, and Struce. Blow up the team. Yes. Jarrett Allen.
Mobley and Garland. You would trade one of them for sure.
Trading Garland, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Trade
100%
Garland.
agree.
Trade Garland because I would hate to do this because I literally bought that jersey, but
Yeah,
you
welcome
trade
to my
Garland
world, buddy.
because hey, my team is not used to having bad quarterbacks. Okay, I'm sorry.
The Jacksonville Jaguars? Really?
It's
Not?
time to act brand new. It's time to act brand new. Anyways, what was I saying? I would hate to trade Garland because I just bought his jersey, but in the sense that if you literally look at the stats, the worst plus and minus on the team is Garland with the starting 5.
Yeah.
Like, when someone comes out compared to him being in, it's terrible. So,
It is.
and I think
Absolutely
a lot
terrible.
of that has to do with just the way the NBA is going. Like you can't have 2 6'2" guards in the back. I don't think you can do it much anymore. It doesn't work as well as it used to.
Nope. Next. Well, first of all, who wins this one? I say Knicks. You guys?
Knicks.
Jalen Brunson is too hot right now.
Too hot. On to the Thunder and the Mavericks. Thunder go up 1-0 in this one. They absolutely dominated the Mavericks last night. What do you guys make of this series? Do you think OKC is just that much better, or is it just an off night for them? I mean, the Mavericks had a game against the Clippers where they scored 6 points in a quarter. So they definitely can have games where they just don't show up. Do you think it was one of those, or do you think the Thunder are really that team?
I think the
No, I
Thunder
mean I think
are
it's a
that
mix
team.
of both. I think it's a mix of both. Luka's not going to score 19 every game. He's
Yeah.
going to go out there and score 30, 35. But that being said, I don't think they'll still lose because of that specifically. I think OKC has a better team overall. They have one of the better benches. They have one of the better starting groups playing together. Like they're clicking. Everything's clicking for this young team, and they're ready to take the next step.
Mhm.
Thunder or Mavericks, Jay?
Thunder. The Mavericks have just gone through. I know it's because of injury, but they've gone through a lot of swings this season where they look like they're the best team in the league, and then they look like one of the worst teams in the league. Like they're in the 5th spot for a reason. They've just been streaky all year. The Thunder have consistently been one of the best teams in the league all season long. They're the number one spot for a reason. SGA and Chet Holmgren are absolutely fantastic together. I'm getting sick and tired of their stupid commercial, but
What a pro wants, what a pro
but
needs.
they deserve it. They are absolutely balling out. I am scared for the Thunder's reign on the NBA to come because they are one of the youngest teams in the league, and if they stick together, man, they're gonna have a long run together. But give me the Thunder. I think the Mavericks will take 2. I think the Thunder win in 6.
Jason, Mavericks or Thunder?
Thunder, I put my money where my mouth is and my mouth where my money is, you know?
Fair enough. Give me the Mavericks in 7. I think Luka and Kyrie are too clutch to go out in the semifinals. I don't think they make it to the finals because we're about to talk about a team that I think is the actual best team in the NBA right now. But it's spoiler, it's not the Denver Nuggets. But I think when they get down the stretch, the Mavericks are a more experienced team, and they'll be able to string together some wins to take that series. But the last game to talk about in the Western Conference semifinals, we have the defending champions, the Denver Nuggets, down 2-0 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Down 2-0 at home, by the way. It wasn't like
And
Minnesota was home
dog walked. Like,
in both games.
yeah.
Go ahead, Jason.
Yes.
Me first.
Yes, Jason, in the back.
Me first. All right. This team has 4 players to throw at their best player, and they are dog walking Jamal Murray. I mean, he cannot make it up the court without 2 people in his face. They are throwing the pressure on him. They have the best defense in the league, and it's not even close. You have, like he said, they might have KD, they might have whatever, but we got Jaden McDaniels, all right? Jaden McDaniels is out there playing defense. Again, is 6'10", lengthy, just long. You can throw him at Jokic. You can throw Nazir Reed, their backup power forward center, at Jokic. You can throw the cat at Jokic. Well, they haven't. Rudy Gobert hasn't played yet, right?
I don't think
No,
so.
but he's going to play though, right?
Their best defensive player has not yet played in the series. And they won by a combined 50-something points in the 2 games.
He's expected to come back though, right? Rudy
Yeah.
Gobert?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's been a game time decision every game. Oh,
Right.
No. He didn't
He
play.
just had a kid.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah,
That's
the kid.
why.
Yeah.
He
And
didn't
then
did he
he
play
shoot-
game 1?
Yeah, he played game 1. Yeah.
Oh,
Did
I
he
didn't
play
think
game
he
one?
played game 1 either. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah,
Continue.
he played game 1. He had 13 rebounds.
Okay. So you get all those people to throw at their best player and tire him out. It's going to be hard for Jokic to carry. Like Jamal Murray has to be there, and it's a box. It's locked down. So someone else has to step up. 2 other people have to step up at the minimum. You're going to have to get 25 from Porter Jr. He's been balling in the playoffs, but I haven't seen much from him. And then you're going to have Aaron Gordon just playing lights out because they're bringing it every day. And it's scary to see what Anthony Edwards is doing right now and just knowing his potential and where he could take. Like, if he wins this series, his confidence is just going to take him to another level, I think, in my opinion. And I know the joke is he's MJ's son, but he might actually be MJ's son. I don't know. After this series.
What's crazy to me is the way that Minnesota has played Denver is the way that the Cavaliers needed to come out against Boston. Now, I don't think the Cavs have the talent that Minnesota has to go and beat the Celtics by 30 points. But the way Minnesota is just not afraid at all of the defending champions in their grill, talking smack about
on their home court.
On their home court.
Their home court.
Yeah. Yeah. Coming into town and saying, yeah, we don't care who you think you are. We don't give a crap if you race horses, Nicola. Like, we are going to shut you down. Jamal Murray got so mad he threw a heating pad and was fined $100,000 for it. Like, that's how Cleveland needed to play against the Celtics as far as mentality and defensively. We did not do that. And we're not Minnesota, obviously. But then you have that team that can do that defensively. They are that team. They're the best defensive team in the NBA. It's not close. They harass you with the ball. And then on top of that, you have Ant-Man turning around and going the length of the court and just dunking on your face or hitting you with a step back three. Or Cat, who started game 2 with like 12 straight points for Minnesota. Like they're not as versatile offensively as the Celtics, but they make up for that in being by far the best defensive team. And if I were to put money on who I think the Cavs could, make a splash here, but if I'm being real with myself, the team, the NBA Finals this year, I think is going to be between Minnesota and Boston.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Anthony Edwards, man.
And I think Minnesota wins.
He's next up.
I would also
He is. I know the joke is like, oh, Luka was next up. Blah. Anthony Edwards is the next guy up. He is insane. He's 22 years old. 22.
You think Anthony Edwards is better than Luka?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
Maybe not right now. He's going to be.
That's what I'm saying.
He's going to be. Not right now. Yeah. No, he's going to be.
I would agree with that. I think Luka is the most overlooked player in the NBA. Like, he is. I think he is the best offensive player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
he's shooting granny shots from 3.
It's ridiculous. The guy is absolutely absurd, and people are like, don't get me wrong, Ant-Man is ridiculous, and I think give it maybe not next year, but the year after, and it'll be his league for as long as, like, he's just going to take over. Mm-hmm. But I think people saying right now, like, oh, he's the best right now, he's the guy. It's like, that's what you hear on the shows. It's like, Luke is the best offensive player right now. I mean, it's just not. I don't think there's any question about that. Anyway, all that being said, I think Minnesota is fantastic. I think Denver gets swept here. I don't even think they take one on the road, personally.
Yeah, shout out Nikola Jokic hitting his 3rd MVP. They just announced it on ESPN, but he's gonna pair that with a nice side of broom coming from the Timberwolves. As I agree, they are sweeping they butt.
It's just just not.
Good. It's just such a bad matchup for Denver too. Like, I think Minnesota's a bad matchup for everybody. They're just too good defensively, but they're like a Magic, but with better offense. Mm-hmm. Like, just so long in your grill. They played tonight.
I'm just saying.
I was gonna ask this. So they played Monday night. They don't play until Friday. Why do they have a 3-day break there?
Is Minnesota
not that far?
No, it's got to be because
maybe because they've already played. They started earlier. They've already played 2 games, so they're trying to catch them up with everybody. Maybe it has something to do with the Avalanche.
With the Wild.
Yeah, the Wild aren't in the playoffs.
It's a Minnesota Wild, dog. No, it's the Avalanche. They're in the playoffs. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the Dallas Stars had a 3 at home in the first game of the second round, had a 3-0 lead in the first period, and lost 4-3 in overtime to the Avalanche.
Dang.
Yikes!
Unreal.
It can't be the Avalanche though, because the next 2 games are in Minnesota. Maybe they started early because the Avalanche was playing. Like, that's like the games maybe were supposed to start Monday, and supposed to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but because the Avalanche were playing, they had to move the games up and then give them their break this week. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's BS because weird. The Western Conference has gotten way more rest than the Eastern Conference.
The Caps had one day of rest.
Yeah.
Between series. Now I know that's because they went 7, but I think even if they won in 6, they were playing.
They were getting one day. They're playing Sunday.
Yeah.
They're playing Sunday. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Stupid.
And then the Mavericks got an entire week off. Mm-hmm. The Mavericks and Thunder both got an entire week off. Like, it's dumb. But anyway, any final thoughts here on this series or NBA talk in general?
Nope. I think the playoffs have been exciting so far. A couple of sneakers here and there, but overall, it's always an exciting time of the year when the NBA and NHL playoffs are going on.
Oh yeah, we should probably
Yeah.
talk about the NHL playoffs next week. Sorry for the inconsistency at the time of the show. I think that'll remain here for a little bit until we can really lock down some times. I should be in my new place here at the end of this week, but as you can see, it's getting darker in this room. I need to get lighting going. But thank you guys for joining us today on this wonderful episode of the Unnamed Sports Show. Sorry we missed you last week. We hope that you will be with us again next week. Please don't forget, subscribe here on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast, and follow us on our social media at Unnamed Sports S. But that's about all I got. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.